Hello, greetings all. I am currently at the computer, still writing. I received some messages in my inbox in regards to a video that I had done about dissociative identity disorder, and also about narcissistic personality. And people are like, when am I going to bring back part 2, narcissistic? I will be bringing part 2 for the narcissistic video very soon actually. Sorry, I'm writing still at the at my laptop on my computer desk, still drafting out my transcript for my book, just to make sure that everything comes out all right for you guys to comprehend in layman's term, and simply put, something that is of substance, a book that will be of substance. So yeah, I will be bringing part 2 of the narcissistic video in regards to those that asked me, that emailed me in regards to bringing back the narcissistics and explaining it in different sort of environmental surroundings, and then giving examples of how you're gonna know if someone carries that narcissistic trait and how you can assess it. Yeah, what I will say is that the best people to assess narcissism is those that have had the experience and have gone to study in the field of narcissistic people and so forth. So I would not recommend you giving a diagnosis to yourself. This is a disclaimer to yourself. Because of the videos that I do, I recommend that you do go and see a professional. I could leave you some details or my details at the bottom of this video. Then you can seek professional help if you want to find out how narcissistic people are diagnosed or how to assess a narcissistic person. But today we're going to be talking about, I'm writing about a chapter in my book called Identity Personalities in Relationships. So basically, relationship identities. Yeah, so basically, if you're in any form of relationship, maybe it doesn't matter, mother, father, boyfriend, girlfriend, it doesn't matter whether you're married, unmarried, single, you know, how you identify yourself in that relationship that you're in, because relationship means to relate to someone, how you can relate to that person. Relationship are very varies, because in according to the attachment of the individuals that you're with. If you're talking about identifying yourself relating with your family, that will entail a lot of family history, a lot of upbringing, how you are as a person, how you yourself were brought up to relate to people. But if you're talking about relationship with friends, that also contributes to how you relate to friendship, how you was brought up, but a small piece of it. And your social environment, your surroundings, yeah, can relate to how you relate to people, and your identity, how you identify yourself in these relationships. It varies according to, I would say that, well, it is not so much say per se the environment, but also experience in terms of what you're taught, your education or your knowledge, your culture, your attributes as a person, you know, will also assert how you identify yourself in different relationships with different people. Today I'm going to be talking about the most wanted topic of identifying yourself in a relationship, which is between a partner, husband, wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, the opposite sex, or the same sex for some people. How you identify yourself in relationship is all the attributes that I've just spoken about. You know, your past memories of experiences of how relations you've had can contribute to that. Your overall your memories and your social environment and your culture. I've realized that culture has a lot to do with how we relate to people. Culture plays a a big aspect of our identity, and the environments that we associate ourselves with and we socialize in also can contribute how we relate and identify ourselves in relationships. So say for example, I ain't got no kids. I'm in a relationship when the man's got children and the man's got children, or you're in a relationship where the woman's got children, but you don't identify yourself as a caregiver or as a parent to that individual child because you are not raised to have those motherly instincts, or you are not raised to have those fatherly instincts. You know, the way or what your experiences are have nothing to do with how to identify yourself as a caregiver, a person who cares for people or who is emotional to uphold or to carry and teach other people of how to be how to self-respect themselves or how to love themselves because of their experience. You might not have had a father in your life, you might not have had a mother in your life, you might have feelings of emotional abandonment where you never grew up with that person, but you have acquired an identity in a relationship of a stepmom or a stepdad, you know, an identity that you was not ready for. So now you have now obtained an identity that requires you to learn these things, you know, and this will depend on how you relate to the individual or the person that you are with at the time. You know, there's a lot of people in relationship. That's just an example of how relationship identities can vary. You know, there's a lot of people, say for example, you're in a relationship with a man or woman, or the opposite sex per se, and the way you relate to your emotions, and the way you identify your emotional identities is different due to the fact that your experiences or your memories have altered, or you've chosen to dissociate yourself from relating to that actual reality of what it is that you're supposed to identify with. Say for example, let me say this is where we're going to talk about dissociative identity. A dissociative identity is for example, when you dissociate yourself from reality. Say for example, love, because you've been hurt before, and in love, yeah, and you have a new partner, you choose to dissociate yourself from loving that person according to your past memories. You know, sorry, as you'll excuse me as I'm writing and I'm also talking to you guys at the same time. Yeah, so you choose to dissociate yourself from loving that person according to your memories that you have obtained, even though you consciously know how to love, but you choose to sort of like you're still aware of what love is, but you choose to not love. So you dissociate yourself from loving, from the reality of loving. The reality is everybody has to love, whether it's going to hurt you or not, or whether it's your experience. But in your subconsciousness, your memories, your subconscious, you know, the memories that are there are not very nice memories. So you choose to use your consciousness, which is now your ego, to sort of dissociate yourself from loving that new partner, due to the experiences that you have faced in the past. You understand? What the ego does, it sends it to the id. This is an example of a coping mechanism, usually that carries on through later life. So this carries on through later life. It's a coping. People use dissociating from reality to cope, but it carries on from later life. You understand? and it does not have any. The thing is, it does not have any personality. Dissociation does not have any personality, but it has an alter. You know, it has an alter. When it has a personality, what happens is it chooses to put a personality on the altar. That's why where you have the saying that goes, the alter ego. You know, my alter ego. People bring out their alter egos out. You know, according to where they are. They have to identify themselves. So you could be with a man or a woman, and they bring, every time they're with you, they bring different alter egos out, you know, and because they choosing to dissociate themselves from their reality of loving according to the experiences that they faced in their back relations or memories, you understand? So your subconsciousness now is filled with all these and foreseen things memories that are there picking at you, that aims to make you fear. I would call it, for the most part, it's fear that aims to give you that fear of relating in a relationship, or of falling in love, or being in love with someone, and facing reality, that the reality is, yes, when we do love, we can get hurt, and the reality is we have to love, and the reality is, yes, things happen and we move on, we forgive, and the reality is that we have to face these struggles. The reality is we have to deal with it, but you choose not to deal with it. You choose to to dissociate yourself from that memory and not to deal with that memory. Freudian would call it repression. DID, dissociative identity disorder, is usually, it was called multiple personality disorders. Before it came out, it was as DID, multiple personality disorders. Before it becomes a disorder, it means that this has become an issue that is repetitive to your life, that is repetitive, and you have, and you know, there's repetitive gaps that are missing constantly to connect with the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. So like you have different personalities all at once in one day. You know, some people, say for example, I've seen this in people actually, and in guys that I know that are related to, you know, you've seen them have different personalities all in one day, that where they relate, you know, they're relating, so they're bringing their alter egos out. They dissociate themselves from having a healthy relation, and identifying with the subconsciousness of what really should, with the subconsciousness and the consciousness meeting together to make a healthy decision to love, regardless of the condition and the situations that they've been put through. So multiple personalities come out, you know, and a lot of people don't realize this whilst in relationships. I for one, I do realize these things, because obviously I'm a psychologist. If I'm dating someone, or when I'm with someone and I am in relation to someone, I can look at that and choose to study the person. Even though I know where it's going, I choose to stay and study that. But I'm not advising anyone to do this, because you have to be a professional to do this. You know, because when the other person realizes what you're doing, then they will sort of like manipulate you, or manipulate their ways back, you know, into you and their relationship, and identifying it in a different ways, and how it will go in a different route. So you have to know how to assess and use these tools when dealing with people with DID. A lot of people have DID, but it's not a disorder. It only becomes a disorder when it's repetitive. Everybody with that saying goes, okay, I brought out my alter ego tonight, or I'm bringing out my alter ego tonight. You know, that's DID. That is DI. Is dissociative identity. It's not DID. So yes, I will be bringing narcissistic personality part 2 and narcissistic disorders part 2 and so forth. Thank you for watching.